you to trust me.
Oh, Geronimo!
I know when your birthday is.
That's actually pretty close. That's actually pretty fucking close.
That's really creepy.
I'm going home. Mom, this amusement park's weird. I want to go home. Oh no. Oh god. Yeah, so
I possibly have to apologize for the last video that we did on this because I was saying some stuff that was just really, really dumb, and now I realize that because I've re-seen footage and I've re-seen theories, and there wasn't a spider thing, so.
Oh, there was?
There wasn't.
There wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mistook what I saw for a spider, but it was a hand. A mechanical hand.
Well, we thought it was a spider thing, too.
Yeah.
Mommy Longlegs was doing the webs, so I was wrong on that.
Oh, well, it happens, dude.
I mean, I hadn't seen all of the second chapter. I only came in that part where I
you
hit the couch
had
and scared
to
the crap
piece
out
out
of
for a
her.
little while, and you really didn't get the full context of
Well, I didn't
all
see the
shit
whole
going on.
first half because I didn't come down here until like halfway through. So
Yeah, that's right. And I gotta be honest, Poppy Playtime, the second episode of our playthrough with Kate is out now. Scaredy Kate Part 2, if you will. And I gotta be honest, I just had a lot of fun with it. And I'm glad that we're doing these on a regular basis. And we've already recorded the third episode, which is Limbo.
Yes.
Which we're going to release that in a little bit of a different way. We're going to do a more 20-minute episodes instead of full playthroughs. It'll be diced up in multiple sections. So
if you even need that much for the highlights of Limbo.
well, again, I mean, it's however Crab wants to decide to do it. I mean, I told him he can tell us however he wants to do it, and Crab, his quality is just top notch in terms of what he puts out there, and starting out with Poppy Playtime was a bit of I'm not going to say a mistake, but it was definitely a choice that we made that I look back on, I'm like, maybe we should have not done something so heavy, but at the same time, I think it kind of jumped off the Scaredy Kate movement a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I guess...
I was definitely terrified.
Oh, yes,
now
you
I'm
are?
just concerned that, I hope us slowing back down to where we originally intended to start doesn't bore people after starting off on such a scary note,
I hope it won't, but again, I mean, there's that's the thing about it. We're gonna keep doing this, and we're gonna incorporate newer horror games, and as we go along.
I already want to show attention to Kate when we get later on.
Oh,
into
God.
this stuff because
Yeah.
detention scared the shit out of me last night.
And then, of course, there's also other stuff. The Dead Space remake, the Callisto Protocol.
Callisto
Protocol.
That's looking promising.
Yes.
Massively promising.
And also
I'm super psyched about
the
that.
Resident Evil 4
I'm also
remake.
super psyched about Scorn. That might be one to add to the list eventually, too.
There's a lot, needless to say. We're not going to be short of scary games to play. Also, Grandma. That one.
What?
Or Granny's house.
I don't think I've heard about that.
Oh, really?
Mm.
It is basically a puzzle escape game where you have 5 chances to escape, and if you don't, basically Granny kills you.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, Mark did a playthrough of it.
Hard to identify with. My granny was like the sweetest old lady.
Same. But it's not technically your granny. It's just a woman who's basically kidnapped you, and also her scream is terrifying whenever she catches you, because basically when she finds you, she just clubs you over the head.
Oh my God.
And, all of a sudden you're just sneaking through the house, where is she? I haven't seen her. All of a sudden, just boom.
Oh man.
Holy shit! It's like, Granny, I didn't hear you coming. But so anyway, game theory: Mommy's Secret Army, Poppy Playtime. So we're gonna hop into this. This is going to go over. I think it's gonna go over the second chapter of Poppy Playtime, and I guess we're gonna see what theories Pat is going to propose, things that he may notice, because there's still things that we missed. I mean, we missed the last tape in Poppy Playtime Chapter 2.
We were too busy trying to get the hell out of there.
Of course, because I was like...
I
fuck
pointed
this
it out
place.
tonight in the recording. I was like, you stepped on it right there. It was
Yep.
right there on your screen.
Crushed the tape, just dead.
Yep.
Now we'll never know. Well, actually, we did know because we watched it later. And
Also, I played through Chapter 1 myself, and I took notes in a notebook. And honestly, I didn't come up with anything Matt Pat hadn't already mentioned.
And also another
I
thing
don't
too
agree
was,
with his theory, and I think that's already been debunked from Chapter 2, that the girl that he said was possibly Poppy is Poppy, and that, for me, is just because they have two completely different accents.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, I think we hear her later on, Stella.
Yeah.
We hear her later on in Chapter 2.
Yeah. She's the one that, like, has the voice for, like, the games when you get to the train, right?
It's like, hello, children. Today we're going to have Mommy show you how to play some of the games. It's like, okay. But also another thing that we missed out on, I was picking up the trophies throughout. Mm-hmm. I picked up the train engine, picked up the minecart, and then I also picked up a Mommy Longlegs one. I missed one, and it was literally right in front of me. It was sitting on the desk of Ludwig's office, and it was sitting right there, and I didn't pick it up.
You didn't realize at that point that's what that was.
I didn't.
You thought it was just a desk decoration.
I didn't, and if I would have, I would have just been like, oh, hey. Because I would have gotten grabby in the office. I was just like, oh, hey, what's this? What's this? Boom. Holy shit, that was a trophy? Awesome. But instead, that didn't happen.
What are the trophies for?
Nothing. They're just collectibles.
Oh.
Also,
It's probably an achievement for getting all of them.
Also, I will make a note next time. Whenever we play, I will have subtitles on because I know some people complained about that. Because the subtitles, you can turn subtitles on, and it actually makes the game easier to understand. Oh. And also, it'll make the game easier for subtitling for Crab in the future, so he doesn't have to do that. So we'll make note to do that whenever Chapter 3 comes out. But that's in 2023, which is a little ways away, but not too far. But we got this game theory here.
Well, at least we didn't need subtitles with Limbo. So
that's true. Well, not many words were said, if any at all.
Any words were said.
All right. So anyway, let's go ahead and hop into this. Here we go. Hi, Huggy.
Last October, Poppy Playtime came onto the indie horror scene and took YouTube by storm. Felt like everybody was playing it, theorizing about it, high-fiving it.
High five, Huggy. Boom!
High five. High five, buddy.
High five, buddy! High five?
Everyone high five.
I missed.
So of course, when the trailer for Chapter 2 dropped a couple weeks ago, you blew up my Twitter asking for
Chapter 2,
theory.
Chapter 2,
So
Chapter
for the
2,
last
Chapter
month,
2,
I've been
Chapter
digging
2,
through the trailer, the merch drops, the secret leaked closed-circuit television
Oh, so this
footage,
is before
all to
he's
come
even
up
played
with
Chapter
the
2.
answers. And regardless of whether I'm right or wrong about Poppy Playtime Chapter 2, one thing we know for sure, we're gonna be dealing with some serious big lady energy.
Oh, you big. Oh, you big lady.
Shut up, Mark.
Hello, Internet.
I'm sorry,
Welcome
Mark.
to
I love you.
Game Theory.
Flashbacks
Show
of the
that may not
internet
be able to
not
give you
shutting
a
up about
pat,
Lady
but it'll still
Dimitrescu.
let you high-five that
Yes, like, well, hello. Where's the big woman?
Did you catch wind of Lady Dimitrescu? Kate?
In Resident Evil 8,
Oh.
tall vampire
Everybody
lady
wouldn't
with
shut up about
Yeah.
it.
the ample curves. Jesus.
Her daughters are hotter.
I would make the argument that they probably are, but
They got the
again,
goth girl vibes going on. I definitely
goth
like
girl
them.
vibes who tried to guzzle down some motor oil.
And it's blood.
subscribe button. And welcome back, friends, to Poppy Playtime, the one game to finally understand how terrifying old toys really are. Didn't really need a creepy indie horror game to tell me that all those American Girl dolls secretly come to life at night. Kirsten's unblinking eyes just pierce into my soul. Duh, it's too realistic. Hard pass. Last time we explored the old abandoned toy factory of Playtime Co., we walked away with two major predictions about where this franchise is headed. First, we concluded that some of the former employees were experimented on in order to create living toys. And not just experimented on, but that their flesh and organs were actively used as the materials to create parts of the toys. Some were willing participants in this, namely Stella Graber, who I believe is now the creepy living doll Poppy Playtime. Others were less enthusiastic about the process, and as a result, the ensuing toy was just a wee bit less friendly. My second major prediction was that our game's title character, Poppy Playtime, wasn't actually the villain of the story, unlike every other horror game in existence.
Which, that's the thing, we've discussed that, and we actually discussed that while we were watching the edit for our Chapter 2 of Poppy Playtime. Nick was making the assumption that, you know, how that ended, her being like that wasn't really her being villainous, it was her trying to get you to help her to make things right. And I could see that. I could. But, again, we'll just have to see.
Like, it's ominous from a perspective of you're like, I want to go home at this point. Like, this is not what I signed up for.
Yes.
But it's really her just being like, you have the potential to set things correct. Like, and that's why I'm keeping you here. Not because I'm trying to get you killed, but because I think you can do this.
Well, either way.
The title character is always out to rip the flesh from your bones. Instead, here in Poppy Playtime, Stella's human desire to make children happy and live forever meant that, now reborn as a toy, she just wanted to escape the factory to fulfill those dreams. Because of this, I guess that she would serve as our guide throughout the facility as we tried to solve the mystery of the factory's missing employees. And hey, if you listen to the Chapter 2 trailer, it seems like we weren't that far off.
Terrible things have happened. Where do I even begin? You're in grave danger. She's watching your every move, so you better be careful. Mommy doesn't like guests.
That's Poppy's voice, definitely warning us of what's ahead, so I'm gonna personally consider this one a win! Look, I just gotta take what wins I can, okay? They're few and far between. So now that we've proven ourselves to be very clearly dialed into the storyline for Poppy Playtime, what do we think's coming down the pipeline for Chapter 2? Let's just say that Mommy Longlegs here is gonna be looking much different by the end of this chapter. But to understand how, we're gonna have to look a bit closer. Since she was the big reveal of the trailer, I think it's fair to start there. First and most importantly, yes, her name is officially Mommy Longlegs. I'm not even making that up to ride whatever weird trend gaming's having right now with large deadly women. This official name was actually revealed in, and
why with the
I
jinx,
can't believe
bro?
I'm gonna have to say this, but it was revealed in the NFTs that this game released. Feeling dirty just saying it. Here's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Again, in order to raise funding for the Poppy Playtime series, they decided to do NFTs, but by doing that, a lot of the fandom felt betrayed by them doing that, because again, it's just like, you're really gonna resort to this backdoor bullshit to, because again, that's the thing with cryptocurrency, not all of it's on the level, and NFTs, there's a lot of chicanery going on with fucking NFTs. Too much to discuss in this video, but you can look it up yourself.
It's pretty much a complicated way of saying they're a giant fucking scam.
Yes.
Mob Games, creators of Poppy Playtime, yeah, they made these things and they hid lore behind them, which is totally not cool. The only reason I'm comfortable talking about these things is because the fan backlash was so strong against it and they sold so poorly. Seriously, they made like 30,000 of these things and they only sold like 600. That Mob Games learned their lesson and they've gone on record saying that they are not going to do NFTs again. So, we're watching you. I'm gonna hold you to that. Anyway, in a completely awesome move, the channel Terrico bought one of each so that no one else had to, and shared them all on his channel so everyone could see what they were missing. And it did give us important lore information. On the front of each card was a Playtime Company toy, and on the back was a corresponding date, which allows us to form a complete timeline of the toy's releases by Playtime.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So that's what I was looking for playing the first chapter, and it's not there.
So,
which allows us to form a complete timeline of the toy's releases by Playtime.
That's okay. So Poppy, of course, you know, being the oldest one, we figured that. Braun, being the second oldest, I was not aware of that. I wonder if Braun's going to come back into play. And then Huggy, which
Nope,
then
actually,
Candy
you got
Cat,
Candy Cat,
then
thanks.
Candy Cat, and then Huggy, and then Kissy, and then Boogie.
Boogie Bot was born the year I was.
Yeah.
Or made.
It makes sense for Boogie Bot to be the newest, because robot, you know, future technology. 90s was a lot of like, yeah, in the future soon we'll have robots.
And
you know what freaked me the hell out? I went to the grocery store the other day and there was a goddamn robot checking stock. It came around the fucking corner and nearly scared the shit out of me.
Are you kidding?
No, like, it's a fucking, like, it's not like a walking, like, bipedal robot, but it was like a tall column with a camera on it. and it was like rolling around, and I was like, what? Like, it almost like I was in its way, like with my buggy, and shit, and I had to move, like, and it came across and it was looking at the wine, like, next to the mixers and stuff that I was looking at. And I saw on the back, it's like, my name is blah, blah, blah. I checked the stock on the shelves, and I was like, well, huh.
That's
Weird.
I was like, we're living in the future, finally.
Yeah.
I've seen, like, the robots at Sam's, like, going around doing the
I have
floors.
too. I have too.
But I haven't seen a stocking
Well,
or a,
all of a sudden, I just in my head, I just have a
robot.
maximum overdrive situation pop into my head. Next thing you know, they come to life, and it's just like, all of a sudden, like the soda machine comes to life. It's, I have a hunger and thirst for human blood.
Oh my god.
And,
Well, thankfully, I don't think there was a lot that robot could have done to you if it did decide that it was going to go on a sentient rampage, because it was literally just a column with wheels on the bottom. Like,
it's just be like,
worst thing it could do would probably be run over your toes.
be like,
Oh gosh.
it all of a sudden just rolls up to you, just like, human, I wish to kill you, but I lack the means. Could you please jump off the top of this building? No. Curses foiled again.
Would you maybe attach arms to me so that I could do something else to you? No.
Fair play, human. You win this round.
I'll be back.
Yeah. It's like, I'd be back. It's like, you're not even Austrian. It's like, you don't know me.
I just fucking kick it over as it walked away and be like, yeah, try doing something now, you dickhead.
It's like, oh. That was unnecessary. Dick.
I believe it was entirely necessary because he wanted to kill me.
and Co. Poppy Playtime was the first, released in 1950. Brawn the Dinosaur was next in 1961, followed by Candy Cat in 1979. Huggy Wuggy and Kissy Missy were respective in 1984 and 1985, and finally Boogie Bot was the most recent in
Boogie
1993. This
The
timeline
button.
actually
Actually
reinforces
really
our previous
The
theory.
button
Probably
causes
the only
me
thing to ever
pain.
come out of NFTs.
What about
So
Cat
we
B?
guessed that Poppy was the
Huh?
What about Cat B?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
The cat bee and also PJ Pugapillar.
Yeah, and what about the one with the symbols? What was
Oh,
that
yeah,
one
the
called?
bunny.
Oh,
The bunny with the symbols. Yeah, I forget his name. But,
I don't know, but it was scary.
well, no, it was cute when it was in, like, the poster and shit like that, but it was coming down to kill us, like,
yeah, like
ting,
smush you, like
ting,
no.
ting.
And then it'd get faster when it get closer to you. Nope.
Yeah.
it just keeps on going and going
Yeah.
and going.
Oh, my
Energizer
gosh.
Bunny.
The energy. Oh, my God, I just got it. That's funny.
Yeah.
I will never forget in that Hot Shots movie where they blew up the Energizer Bunny. They literally, Energizer Bunny came on the screen. They're like, it keeps going and going and going. Then Charlie Sheen turns around and blows it away with an M60. It's like, nothing can stop the. Oh! And he's just like, yes. Just like, finally done with it.
the first major hit for Playtime Co. because of how eager Stella was to be turned into a toy. But that at some point, the company lost the secret to her creation.
Well, here's the problem with that.
It's not
VHS
Stella.
tapes didn't exist back in the 1950s. And if there's a VHS tape of Stella's interview to be a part of Playtime Co., then how in the hell was that?
Ooh.
Oh, that's.
Wait. Are you sure about that?
Yeah, VHS tapes weren't around until like the 70s. Well, at least, at least in terms of like availability to the public. Because again,
1977. Damn.
there you go.
Massive oversight, Matt Pat.
Well-
Massive oversight.
Well, again, and that's my whole thing. It's just like, I guarantee you Stella was just like really wanting to be a part of it. And wait a minute, what if Stella is Kissy?
That's more likely. I
That's
think.
more
That
like-
sounds way more likely
Yeah,
because she's
because
too
of
nice
how
to
she-
become a murderous toy.
Yeah, because she
Yes.
wasn't murder. She didn't try to kill us when we were playing. She tried to help us.
I
so-
think Poppy is a much deeper story in terms of it having to do with the founder, Ludwig. I think it's
Maybe
probably.
I think
because-
Poppy's probably
one of
like
the loved
Ludwig's
ones,
daughter or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
'cause-
probably terminally ill.
They,
and-
they talked
Right.
about like a tragedy like that stricken
Right.
his family back in the day.
Yep.
I
Like
wonder.
I really think that's more closer to the case, and I think I like the theory that Stella is Kissy.
Because
Yeah.
again, Kissy assisted you.
Yeah.
Right.
She literally opened the door and was just like non-threatening in any way.
creation, which is why every toy that follows her becomes a monster. In addition to forming a timeline, though, the NFTs also ended with voice lines reading out letters, with the last of the batch giving us a code that we'd need to solve.
YMNL
MLOMMGENCGYGS.
Assembling all the letters and unscrambling them, you get the phrase, Mommy Longlegs is coming. Yeah, definitely not a puzzle worth the $90 it takes to assemble all the NFTs. Again, huge shout out to Terrico as well as all the other creators who I saw do something similar with these NFTs
Well
and made
done.
them available to the public. Okay, so
Terrico, you the real MVP.
So Mommy Longlegs is clearly our next big bad. A giant spider with stretchy legs, but what exactly is her plan? Well, let's think back to Chapter 1. In Chapter 1, we learned that there's been a series of experiments to create these monsters.
Coordination and cooperation is evidently within his skill set, as well as the skill set of all
See, and I now know that experiment that they're
was
talking
last.
about was the hand that came out and grabbed.
Yeah.
That I mistook for spider legs, but it was a hand that came out and grabbed Mommy Longlegs' like
Torso and
bisected
head.
corpse, you know.
Yeah, and also, here I know Matt Pat's gonna name Huggy as Experiment 1006,
Which is incorrect.
Which is incorrect because of what we know after playing Chapter 2
Right.
and after watching the video.
Right.
Because again, hindsight's 2020, especially when you've played through and we're going back and watching old
Actually, you
videos.
could have gleaned that 10006 was different from the first one if you paid really close attention. But
Maybe, yeah.
no,
again,
it's harder to know until the second one.
well, the doubt is presented in Chapter 1, but it's confirmed in Chapter 2. I can see that, yeah.
Experiment 1006, but he was also different. As we saw in the game's first trailer, in a split-second lore reveal, Huggy didn't need to eat in order to survive. Quote from the trailer, "Despite his digestive tract being wired properly, the prototype finds no necessity for sustenance, unlike the others. All other experiments can only survive while subsisting on much larger portions." And in this new chapter, it looks like we're gonna see these previous 5 versions of Huggy. Here, we see ourselves having to play whack-a-mole against 3 differently colored Huggies trying to crawl out of the pipes.
There's a
See how
lot
many
more than
empty
6.
pipes are here? Wouldn't surprise me to
Yeah.
see 2 more variations crawling out. And just like we heard about in the tapes, these guys probably hungry considering that all the employees of the factory went missing 10 years ago. That is a long time to be waiting for a full meal. Mommy Longlegs is also gonna want some food. When she sees us in the trailer, she says,
A new playmate. It's been so long.
notice the slight head twitch, the change in her voice as she tells us it's been so long? Yeah, she seems unhinged and hungry. She's just hoping that we are quite literally a fly in a web, just like the chapter's title says. But if these creatures need food and lots of it in order to survive, then how are they all going after a decade without any visitors? Well, for that answer, we actually turned to leaked closed-circuit TV footage that was revealed as part of a past Poppy Playtime merch drop. Because let's face it, once you've had yourself a wildly successful 30-minute gameplay demo for your horror concepts, it's not about winning over the audience's trust by getting a fully fleshed out, mechanically sound Chapter 2 out right away. It's about franchising opportunities, fam, NFTs, merch, plushies. Man, I'm just impressed that they showed enough restraint to work on the actual game long enough before the publication of their first novel trilogy. Anyway, when this merch website went live, it came with 3 different CCTV camera feeds from inside the factory. We can tell that this is a live feed because camera 01's in the main auditorium where we first see Huggy, but Huggy is noticeably missing. So these feeds are clearly leaking after he tried to maul us to death in the vent system. In the beginning, these camera feeds were just kind of there, nothing all that exciting. But after 10 days, things started to happen. On camera 01, a broken and bloody cat meat toy appeared in the middle of the room. The blood isn't super surprising given the whole people are toys thing that we already talked about. Bloody toys were strewn across the factory in Chapter 1. The interesting part is actually what happens next. Another 3 days go by and suddenly the cat meat toy is missing with a trail of blood leading out into the darkness. Around the same time, we see this image of a spaghetti hand coming out of the machinery. These details, plus the fact that we see Mommy Longlegs drag a Huggy Wuggy doll into the darkness at the start of the Chapter 2 trailer, tells me that the larger monsters are feeding off of the other toys. Remember, some, or maybe even all of the toys are made from people.
We've seen like a countless amount of like Boogie Bots and Cat and the PJ Pugapillar ones all just like decimated.
Yeah, that's a good explanation as to why they're just like laying bloody all over the place.
Yeah,
That's
because
the other bigger toys eating them.
Yeah.
why they leave behind pools of blood when they're injured. As such, it can all serve as healthy snacks to keep Mama alive. In fact, we actually see pieces of brawn and BoogieBot hanging from the webs around the factory, much like flies trapped in a web about to be eaten by the spider.
Yep.
We also see this caterpillar enemy chasing us through a jungle gym setup. Wouldn't be surprised if Mommy winds up devouring that thing too, like a spider eating an insect. All of that just tiding her over until she can finally get herself a proper meal, us. But for all the spider imagery, there's one weird detail. Mommy Longlegs only has 4 legs. I mean, even my favorite Pizzaplex spider, Music Man,
Oh
he
my
had 6.
God.
But I think that her 4 legs act as a clue for what's going to happen to her throughout the chapter.
friggin',
Mommy Longlegs was clearly inspired
security
by the
breach.
real-world toy of Betty Spaghetti, a toy that was huge during the
I had
late
one of
90s and early
those.
2000s.
Really?
She
Yeah.
too had rubber limbs and hair that you could manipulate. But the key part was that she was customizable. And I don't mean that you could just style her hair. Her body parts and hair were actually removable and swappable. For instance, her ponytail could be swapped out for slinkies or yarn. And of course, you could accessorize to your heart's content. If Mommy is taking these broken toys and eating their organic insides, maybe she's also collecting the fabric and plastic bodies to create more limbs that'll make her stronger. Add to her arm count. In fact, in the trailer, there's a small detail that I bet
Would've
most
been a
people
cool
overlooked.
idea,
There are
but-
these small little dots on Mommy Longlegs' arms and neck as she crawls towards us. It's not a rendering or modeling issue. That is just like the dots that we see on the Betty Spaghetti dolls. Dots that help with the toy's customization. In short, if you think that Mommy is threatening now, just wait until she puts on the rest of her arms and starts filling out those holes with equipable accessories, like a BoogieBot head that's ready to cave your skull in.
I think that would have been neat, but at the same time, I
I would
think
have preferred whenever he's talking about big ladies already that he wouldn't have said filling out those holes.
God dang it. Okay.
Other things
Moving
to point out
on.
here from the trailer, obviously the caterpillar, like I mentioned, there also seems to be
TJ,
a flower enemy hidden up in the ceiling. The Huggy we see Mommy
Actually, he got replaced by the bunny.
Oh.
That because I saw in the trailer the tube where the bunny was coming down. That's where that sunflower was, or it's where the flower was.
Oh, okay.
And I'm
The
not
flower was a trophy, and it's definitely a toy, so I would say he's probably going to come into play at some point.
I would say that. Yeah, I would say hopefully
Probably
in the
in chapter
future,
3.
in future episodes, it'll come into play. We'll see.
grab at the beginning of the trailer isn't the Huggy that chased us from chapter 1, you'll notice there's no blood on the floor and it's small size relative to the size of the floor tiles, so this thing is likely a random Huggy doll that's used for effect. But before we wrap things up here, there's still one more topic that I wanted to focus on today, and it's the character that we actually started this whole theory off with, Poppy. Well, the internet's been distracted with Mommy Longlegs, Poppy is still here, and she's talking to us throughout the entire trailer. And what she's saying,
You're in
or more
danger.
importantly, what she's not saying, may
dangerous in
actually
here.
be
Let's go
pointing us to the
outside.
main plot of not only this chapter, but the entire game. As I pointed out earlier, Poppy seems to be guiding us throughout the game, but just because she's helping us doesn't mean she's actually the good guy. Take a listen to these two lines from the trailer.
You are perfect. Too perfect to lose.
Poppy saying we're too perfect to lose lines up with what we theorized about last time, that she's the one talking to us throughout the death screens. It's not your time to die, don't die just yet, it's too early to die. All these screens show us that Poppy wants us alive, but her reason for that seems unclear. Sure, throughout chapter 1 we got notes and death screens that seem to be focused on us saving the missing employees. There's more lives at risk than just yours and all that. But in this new trailer, there's something uneasy about Poppy's tone, something obsessive. It's like she's planning something that we aren't aware of. We theorized last time that all Poppy wanted was to be free out in the real world to bring joy to children. But what if we were only half right? Just because she wants to bring joy to children doesn't technically mean that she has to leave the factory. What if Poppy is trying to bring the factory back to life? At the very beginning of the game, we get a note telling us to come to the factory and find a poppy flower. But after finding the flower, all the literal writing on the wall tells us to not go in. Why would we get a letter from the employees telling us to find the flower only for them to then tell us to stay away once we actually get there? It doesn't make sense. It only makes sense if that first letter is from Poppy. Notice those spelling and grammar mistakes? That letter is from her. It was sent to us to lure us in. She wants us in this factory. She needs us in this factory. Listen again to her
Not
lines
to
from the
mention
trailer.
the severe lack of any staff behind the flower door and only Poppy being behind the flower door.
Oh, yeah.
But how did she leave the note if she was locked in the case is my only problem with that.
We're still here. What if it's Stella as Kissy who wrote it.
That could be the case.
I think that's what happened.
Okay, actually, yeah, the staff are still here. Find the flower door. Like, obviously, you haven't seen anybody but Huggy yet, like, up to that point. So the rest of the staff behind the flower door, Mommy Longlegs was probably a part of the staff. Kissy, being,
Yeah.
I like the theory that Kissy is Stella. That sounds spot on to me.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And I mean, whoever Jack was, like, I feel like
Marcus, yeah.
I mean, like, he could be one of them too. Like,
I would say that. I would say he probably would be a.
Even Leith is probably one of them. Like,
well,
at this point,
I would say that, yeah. And again, there's no telling like which ones they are until like this whole
unless
thing's
it's
fleshed
revealed,
out.
yeah.
Until it's revealed.
Leith could easily be like the Bonnie, or something. Like,
Yeah, Leith Pierre, he could basically be.
A lot of the random ones could have been the Wuggies and Whack-a-Wuggy.
Imagine if Jack's character, Marcus, was a boogie bot, and he was just like, boogie with me. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say these things.
I think it'd be pretty cool if, in the last chapter, if it ends up being a lot bigger and there are more friendly toys in addition to the not friendly toys. So we get like Boogie Bot finally, like a living big Boogie Bot that's actually friendly, as well as like possibly Cat Bee and Candy Cat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Too perfect to lose.
She describes us as perfect. In the death screens of Chapter 1, she calls
So we now
Huggy
know the
wonderful.
context of that,
He's good,
too.
but he's not
Yeah.
perfect. Poppy must therefore be aware that both Huggy Wuggy and Mommy Longlegs are the failed attempts to recreate the magic of her own birth. But someone who came back to the factory despite the horror stories? Someone who came back with a good heart that wanted to help those who were trapped? That is suddenly someone that she can work with. As far as we know, Poppy's the only experiment to truly work. The only toy that managed to not turn into a monster through the toy conversion process. And if she truly wants to spread joy to all the children of the world, it would make sense for her to want to restart those experiments, to turn the factory back on, to create more living toys like herself. But it all needs to start with one pure soul. It needs to start with us. That's why she doesn't want to lose us. Not just because we can free her and remove the obstacles standing in her way, but because in her eyes, we can become the new Patient Zero. We can be the Ken to her Barbie. My guess is that after surviving chapter after chapter of toy-related horror headed our way, in the end, Poppy is gonna turn on us. She's gonna betray us. She's gonna turn us into the next generation of toy. By winning the game, we ultimately lose. But hey, while Mob Games wants you to invest in NFTs to unlock the lore of this game, with our sponsor today, Public, you could invest in stocks that'll give you some real value. Public is an app built to help you invest in the right things at the right time. I'm gonna be honest with you, investing was always really scary to me. I was raised by parents who taught me that you invested your money into your mattress. Literally, you hide it there. But what I've learned over the years is that you actually have to have your money working for you by investing in smart ways for the long term. Not anything super risky or speculative, but stuff that helps your money grow steadily over time. And Public helps make that learning process easier by updating you about stock performance and exposing you to a community of smart investors who can share their knowledge with you. Public isn't trying to turn you into a day trader or some risky stock market gambler. They're invested in your education. In fact, their app is free to use and there's no commission on any standard stock trade. And the best part is you get a free stock worth anywhere between $3 and $300 when you go to public.com/MattPat, M-A-T-P-A-T, or just head on down to the link in the description and create your account. Still feeling a bit unsure? Absolutely get it. Trust me, I am also nervous about this sort of stuff, but that's why you can actually follow me on the app at MattPatGT. That way you can see what trends I follow and we can take this little adventure together. And here's the thing, friends, I'm not gonna be making a whole lot of trades. I just don't. I'm a long-term investor. I'm no Amaranth dumping $1 million into Google or whatever she does. I find a couple of safe stocks and I let them sit, let them grow. That's how it works for me. But hey, if you don't like my investment decisions, there are loads of other YouTubers on the app who you can follow for inspiration as well. So once again, make sure you go to public.com/MattPat or click the link down in the description to get yourself a free stock that could be worth anywhere between $3 and $300, but more importantly, is going to start educating you about something that is very important for your long-term investment portfolio. That's it. It's just one way of smartly diversifying your assets. Is it the whole whole thing? Should you dump all your life savings into the stock market? Absolutely not. Do not do that sort of stuff. This isn't investment advice, but it's kind of general knowledge advice. Don't do that sort of stuff. Like I said, for me, it's all about education. This stuff is important for you and me to know, and we're on this learning journey together. And in the meantime, friends, remember, it's all just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
I
don't hate his final theory about Poppy, actually. Like, even though I was saying earlier, like, maybe she is actually just having good intentions, like, I don't think that's unlikely that she will end up betraying you, and that's one of the reasons she was saying you're perfect, not just because she's having you basically defeat the monsters that went one way, but also she thinks you're the next pure toy, like, you know,
maybe
catalyst, essentially.
Again, that's the whole thing, is like, the more we play this, the more we're going to find out, and the more we find out, the more answers we'll get. Speculation right now, I would say it's half and half. Half of me wants to believe that Poppy is, you know, doesn't want us to leave because she knows we're the only ones who can truly help her. But on the other side, it's just like, what if she's just using us to complete her work and then basically make us into another version of her? What if that's really what's going on? I mean, I don't know. I mean, plus us saying that Stella is Kissy is just speculation right now. Again,
But that's my favorite theory so far.
but it's the one for me that holds the most water because, again, I don't.
That just makes a lot of sense. She's so friendly sounding and upbeat in her video.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just don't see her becoming a monster if they did turn her into a toy. And like Kissy makes the most sense because...
And also the time as well, because how can Stella be on a VHS tape doing an interview, but yet be Poppy, who was made in the 1950s?
Like, I already was just 100%. Like, I just don't subscribe to Poppy being Stella because they have two completely different accents.
Yes.
Like, that doesn't make sense to me that she just gained an American accent because she became a doll, you know?
Yeah, and again...
Like, when she clearly had, like, a Eastern European or possibly Russian accent before.
Yes. And
Here's something. What if Poppy has to have a vessel for herself? Like, what if she needs to, like, transfer to...
Well, she needs to transfer to another vessel in order to maintain herself?
Or maybe she wants to be a human again, and you're the
Exactly.
possibility.
Yeah, and then, like, put
You're the
us
one that
in
she...
the doll.
Yeah, there could be a switcheroo at the end where she's like, hey,
Could
thanks.
be.
Yeah. I think they should do multiple endings with it. I think there should be an ending where you can basically trust Poppy, and there should be an ending where Poppy tries to manipulate you into thinking that Kissy is the one that's trying to screw you over, even though Kissy is the good one.
Yeah.
And if you trust Poppy, you end up getting swapped into like her doll form or whatever, and she takes your body. Or if you
And
trust
you see
Kissy,
her walk out.
and then you can actually, you know.
Oh,
get out
imagine
alive.
imagine the ending of the game is literally you wake up inside of a glass case,
Oh
the same glass case that she was in.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the lights slowly go out, and then we see the door open, and we see someone walk in, but we don't see their face or anything like that. It's like a dark silhouette from here up, and we just hear Poppy's voice just being like, "Thank you. Now I can go and do what I want."
Well, I think it'd be fun if you saw just a silhouette standing in the doorway, and then you see shrink, and like the hand grab the handle of the case, and then you hear, just kidding, and then like you see her like throw the grab pack off, and the hand falls off the door handle.
Oh my God.
You know, and she's like,
yeah,
like she was gonna let you out, but she's like, just kidding. Like,
yeah, that would.
And starts to say, "Oh, you're perfect. You're perfect."
Yeah, you're perfect.
It's like, I knew you were perfect, and I love this body now.
Yeah.
And you see, like, you know, like hands come up, and they're doll hands, like on the case, like in first person.
Yeah, like. No. Yeah.
I think there's, like, I mean, obviously that's a little predictable because we've already predicted it, but I still think it would be a good ending.
I think so too.
Or it would be a good bad ending, you know, like.
There's
Oh, yeah.
lots of possibilities.
Oh, yes. A whole lot of
It's like
possibilities.
it makes me so sad that this has mixed reviews for Chapter 2 on Steam right now because of the way they handled the monetization of this game.
Yeah. Again.
The NFTs didn't help it, but most of the bad reviews are because they originally charged people $5 for Chapter 1. Then when they released Chapter 2, they made Chapter 1 free and charged $10 for Chapter 2. And everybody who paid money for Chapter 1 just review bombed Chapter 2 because they're like, this is really fucking dumb, you know?
Yeah, again, it's not something that that as a game development studio, I would not have done that. Especially when you hit such a home run in terms of reeling in a huge amount of the indie horror community.
And I mean, they really have something here. Like, I'm super interested in this.
Same.
Like, and all they need to do is, like, freaking discount the second chapter for people who bought the first chapter. Like,
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like, literally, I got the director's cut of Death Stranding today on sale for $5 because I already own the original. Like, I mean, that's not that difficult of a concept to grasp.
No, it isn't. But again, the difficulties of foresight and also, having the wrong people in charge making financial decisions can often mess up, like, the game developers, like, the people who actually care about the game development. Like, if I were them, I would just be like, hey, let's just do merchandising, a Huggy Wuggy backpack where, the hands are the strap, are like the shoulder straps. Or, hey, a poppy necklace where it's like a poppy flower. You open it up and it can be like you and your best friend, or you can do like a kissy, you can do like a kissy missy huggy, like a kissy missy doll where you can hug it. Same thing with a Huggy Wuggy. There's different things you can do. You can do stuff that's like more, by the book. Then you can do like the crazy stuff. It's just like a Huggy Wuggy doll that when you squeeze the back of its head, its fangs get revealed or something like that.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. You could do that, and you could get away with it because it's what your game is all about.
Right.
But again, hindsight's always 20/20, and hopefully they learn from their lesson and they don't do that shit anymore in the future. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, and I'm hoping. But anyway, that's gonna do it, everybody. This was Game Theory, Mommy's Secret Army, Poppy Playtime. We'll probably react to the other ones of this because I know there's a couple more. That's after Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 has been released that Matt Pat did after he played that. And then I think there's one for Chapter 3 where they just released the trailer for Chapter 3. We might watch the trailer for Chapter 3 and then react to that Game Theory. But
I
we'll
think
see.
we should watch the trailer first.
Yeah, we'll see. But all in due time. Anyway, thank you all very much for tuning in. Until next time, Nate.
I'm Kate.
I am Nick.
We'll see you later, everybody. Peace.
Yeah.